It's so good.
Okay, today we're going to try 9 more tarts. And you know what? This is because you guys asked for it. So I'm actually going to be trying these tarts that you suggested right here.
Okay, let's do this. It's Ollella. Okay, here we go. I would say that it's not bad. Is it outstanding? Does it blow your mind? No, it really doesn't. Pastry is a little dry for me. And as well as the pineapple filling, it's not quite there in terms of texture. It is quite jammy, but it doesn't have the chunkiness that I look for. It's neither very aromatic, nor is it particularly tart, nor sweet. So it's, I would say average, just not great. Okay, so this one is HeBakes. Also a recommendation from you guys on social media. So let's give it a go. Whilst the pastry is quite good, it's short and buttery, I find it a little bit too sweet. So that already kind of throws off the balance of the overall tart. Secondly, the jam isn't quite chunky enough. So what you get is this jammy and quite a little bit veering on the sweet side. And the whole balance of the tart is off, in my opinion. So doesn't really get a very high score. Munchy Munch. And I wanted to try them because they reached out to me and said, hey, could you try my tarts? And this is a Malay style pineapple tart. They are kueh tart sepit, which means to pinch, which I thought was quite interesting. And I think the style does actually vary quite a fair bit. You can see they're really tiny. So let's give it a go. This is really good, and I would give it a really high score because the pastry is, of course, buttery and aromatic, but it also has texture in it. So I almost wonder if they put semolina in there, like very fine semolina, and it gives it that lift that doesn't turn into like powdery ash in your mouth. Also, it's adequately salted, which is like, to me, the first basics of pastry making. The jam, I guess, is the only thing that let them down in that it's not moist and chunky, which is the style I like. But I guess when you have a open tart face, this is basically what happens. But still, really quite delicious. And especially Hari Raya is coming up, maybe you want to consider this as gifts. Okay, Kwan Pastry was recommended to me by somebody on social media as well. And of course I had to try it. So here we go. Okay, they are not shaped in a ball, but shaped in a flower, which is quite cute. Okay, I want to say this, like the pastry is really good. I think it's like good pastry. It ticks all the boxes in terms of it being buttery and quite short and falls, like just melts in your mouth. The only thing is that the jam is almost non-existent. I can't really taste the pineapple. There isn't that aroma, there isn't that moisture. So as a result, it just averages out and becomes somewhat average as a result. As a whole, the pineapple tart doesn't really pop and it doesn't sort of like say yowza, Salt and Light Bakery. It's so good. All right, so this gets like possibly top rating to rival that of the number one from the first batch of tasting. It's just so good. It really ticks all the boxes. The pastry is buttery, it's short, but it's not too dry. It's not overwhelming in that milk taste. Really perfect balance. The jam is also, you can tell that they make it themselves. It's chunky, it's moist, and just really delicious. I mean, what can I say? You know, it is to me sort of the embodiment of the perfect pineapple tart. This is what I expect, and it's just great. I'm giving it a really, really high score. Number 6 is from La Levain, and it. I mean, you see the ads for it everywhere, and of course, I had ordered this previously, and it only arrived after I did the tasting. So I wanted to include this because I think everybody's seeing the ads for it, and it's got a lot of like media around it. So number 6, let's give it a go. Just doesn't do it for me. The pastry is too hard. It's not quite buttery enough, so it makes me think that they didn't handle it properly. There's not enough butter. The jam is also not to my liking. It is too sweet almost, so there is again no balance, and it doesn't really have that chunky moistness that you expect from a good pineapple tart. So it doesn't really score very high for me. Tailored Tart. And full disclosure, they reached out to me and say, hey, would you like to try our tarts? Of course, same thing applied. I paid for the tarts and even the delivery, but they were really nice. They like rushed out a batch for me because they knew I was doing the tasting. So thank you so much, guys, for rushing this out for me and doing like a late night bake. So anyway, here's number 7 from Tailored Tarts. So it has a funny little like crust on top. So I wonder if they've got grated cheese on the top, which is interesting. Now, I really wanted to like this because they are a small outfit. Obviously, they're home bakers. The pastry is not bad, as in it's quite crumbly and short, but it doesn't have that aromatic, buttery, toasty notes that you expect from a really good pineapple tart. Also, the jam is almost nondescript. It sort of disappears into the tart. Maybe because it's not too sweet, it's not sweet enough, it's not tart enough. Also, the texture is not there. So there isn't really that balance when you bite into the tart and then you get that juicy tart pineapple and it's contrasted with that milky buttery pastry that just melts in your mouth. Okay, so this is Fredos, and Fredos is interesting because they actually have a bakery at Sunset Way and they do amazing pastries, and this came up a couple of times in the comments. So after the first tasting, someone mentioned again Fredos, so I just felt like I had to go and get them and try them. And I actually bought a couple of tarts whilst I was there. And the mixed berry tarts were amazing, as was the yuzu meringue tarts. So, I mean, this bodes well for the pineapple tarts and let's see. So the tarts are actually like little pillowy pillows with an indentation. And then you have the jam on top. Quite a lot of jam, so let's see how it tastes. I wouldn't say that it's not good, but it doesn't fit within the variables that I judge, the criteria that I judge pineapple tarts in. Again, this applies to all the other tarts that I've tasted as well. This is my opinion, all right? The pastry is quite good. It is quite short, but I feel it's a touch underbaked, so there isn't that browning, that Maillard reaction that I expect. So it also is a bit undersalted. The pineapple in and of itself is not something I particularly enjoy. It is not very sweet, neither is it very tart. It doesn't have that juicy textured moisture that I enjoy. Okay, so we have number 9, which is from the Fullerton. And this is interesting because they are quite pricey. They are $49.30. And they're only 6 tarts, so you can calculate how much each tart costs, which is quite pricey. So obviously the caveat or the expectations are quite high for a tart that costs so much. So let's try it, all right? They're really quite big. Getting a cold sweat. It really is almost like a mooncake. Can you see how interesting the construction of this pineapple tart is? Okay, as a tart, I think it's pretty good. It's good. The pastry is, however, to me, not aromatic enough. I don't know what it is. There isn't enough butter. There also isn't enough salt. So it just doesn't quite come together. I find it a little bland, to be honest. The jam as well, it's a bit too sweet. It veers on the sweet side. And whilst it has the texture, it is not quite tangy enough. So that said, I mean, it's a pretty good tart. But once you factor in the price, then it becomes, I think in the eternal words of a Singaporean, is it worth it? No, I don't think it's worth it because it comes out to almost $6 a tart. So yeah, doesn't quite hack it for me. Sorry, my math's really bad. Anyway, yeah, it's not really a tart for me.